September 2020. An army unit takes position on a bridge while a helicopter flies overhead. Below, snow obscures the view of figures moving among destroyed buildings. The helicopter spots a severely wounded man emerge from one structure. The soldiers question if the man is still human as corpses around the building begin to move slowly. They have long, sharp fingers and charred skin. An order to move closer for visual confirmation is cancelled. They fire on the approaching man, hitting him repeatedly, but he keeps walking toward the bridge. 1 month earlier, a man walks toward an apartment building. As he passes, the lawnmower a security guard is operating suddenly shoots its blade past his face. The apologetic guard, unfamiliar with the machine, introduces himself and asks if the man is the new tenant for apartment 1410. The man confirms he is moving in alone. The man sits alone in his new apartment, contemplating suicide. He goes to the rooftop and stands on the ledge, looking down at the highway. Meanwhile, in the guard's office, a man tells the guard to get rid of his bed, claiming someone complained that he shouldn't be resting. As the man leaves, a woman approaches the office. She tells the guard she used to live in Gangnam, where guards didn't have beds. She gives him a container of uneaten fish so it doesn't go to waste. The guard accepts the container but finds the fish spoiled, with flies coming out. Suddenly, the guard gets a nosebleed. On the rooftop, the suicidal man is about to jump when he hears a slapping sound. He turns to see a beautiful woman practicing ballet. Her practice is interrupted when she steps on gum, making her shoes sticky. Irritated, she removes the gum. She asks the man if he threw it, which he denies. When he doesn't answer her questions, she tells him to find somewhere else to die, as jumping there would cause trouble for residents. The man decides to return to his apartment. The guard is waiting at his door with a registration form. The man tries to close the door, saying he will fill it out later, but the guard holds the door open, apologizes for the earlier lawnmower accident, and offers him a beer. The man accepts the beer, and the guard leaves. The man immediately throws the beer in the trash. He checks his peephole and sees the guard still standing outside. A woman passes by and greets the guard before suffering a sudden nosebleed while talking on the phone. We meet another tenant, Yoon Ji-soo from apartment 1510, a skillful guitarist playing a piece of her song over the phone. The person on the line criticizes the piece and asks if she has any pride left. Jisoo replies that pride won't earn money and ends the call to go to work. She waits for the elevator and apologizes to an older woman with a baby, saying her electric guitar might be loud sometimes. The older woman says not to worry and speaks to her baby. Jisoo asks the baby's age, and the woman says 1 year old. Jisoo looks in the stroller, but it is empty. The elevator arrives, but Jisoo makes an excuse about forgetting her wallet to avoid riding with the older woman, sensing something odd, which she dismisses as the woman just being sick. A man suddenly appears, Young Jae-hyun from apartment 1506, who tells Jisoo that the old lady lost her baby about a year ago when the stroller rolled into the street. Jisoo rides the elevator with Young Jae-hyun. She clarifies that she plays the bass guitar. As he exits, Young Jae-hyun bumps into another man who drops a roll of duct tape. Young Jae-hyun can't return the duct tape before the elevator doors close, revealing scars all over the man's face. The ballet dancer checks her bruising ankles. A man walks into her room uninvited and gives her an envelope of cash for her ballet lessons. She tells him the lessons are already paid for, and when he asks how, she says she met a rich man. She refuses to tell him the truth, saying nothing would change. Meanwhile, the scarred man is eating noodles and watching TV, using his rocking chair to torture a man bound with duct tape underneath. The bound man pleads for mercy and promises not to call the police. The scarred man ignores him, forces the man's mouth open, and uses it as an ashtray, forcing the man to gag and choke on the cigarette. The suicidal man tries to drown himself with noodles, but his gag reflex forces him to spit them out. He receives a message inviting him to be a beta tester for an upcoming game, providing a date and location. He marks August 25th on his calendar, labeling it suicide. The ballet dancer, Lee Yoon-yu, finds the rooftop door locked. She smokes near the fire exit with the scarred man. She tries to ask him questions, but he tells her to ask them at school. Yoon-yu replies she was kicked out of school for nearly burning it down. The suicidal man, playing video games, overhears his neighbor talking about nosebleeds but ignores her. He keeps receiving harassing messages telling him he cannot die until they allow it, and mentioning him being the only survivor of an event. The next day, the suicidal man wakes to a message from the delivery guy saying his package was left at his doorstep because the security guard was missing. He opens his door to find his instant ramen scattered in the hall. He follows the trail into his neighbor's apartment, where he sees a cat's head roll on the floor, followed by his neighbor's bloody hand, suggesting she was eating her cat. Spooked, he runs back inside. His doorbell rings moments later. He hears a woman asking for help and checks the security camera. It shows a woman in pink who claims she just arrived and her cat is missing, adding that there is blood everywhere. He offers to call the police but can't find a signal. The woman keeps asking him to open the door. He asks her to show her arms and wrists to the camera, but she refuses. The woman suddenly goes wild, trying to break down his door, and her nose begins to bleed heavily as she walks out of the camera's view. The suicidal man breaks his mop and prepares to confront her. He runs out and confronts the scarred man. He tries to explain the blood on the floor, but he faints before the scarred man can ask anything. Meanwhile, Yoon-ji-soo is playing her bass when she hears a knock. Checking the camera, she sees the suicidal man's neighbor, but her face is wrinkled like a monster. The monster demands she open the door, pounding on it forcefully. Jisoo refuses and grabs her baseball bat, but when she checks the camera again, the woman is gone. Jisoo waits by the camera, but the scarred man appears instead. Lee Yoon-yu's brother, Lee Yoon-hyuk, a doctor, is leaving for work. He reminds Yoon-yu not to eat instant ramen. He notices the elevator is out of service and takes the stairs. Jisoo tells the scarred man about the weird lady who nearly destroyed her door. The scarred man punches the door and explains the woman wasn't banging. She was ramming it with her body, causing the damage. They see blood leading to a broken window. Yoon-hyuk reaches the lobby, which is locked. The guard has closed the shutters and vanished. Residents are panicking, unable to leave for work. A woman asks Yoon-hyuk if his phone has reception, which he confirms is also gone. He demands to know what's happening, but the woman, firefighter Seo Yi-kyung, says they are still investigating, adding that all entry and exit doors are sealed. Yoon-hyuk uses a fire extinguisher to force open the management office. Yi-kyung tries calling for help, but the lines are jammed with disaster reports. An older tenant touches the breaker box, hoping to open the gates. He presses the wrong button, cutting power to the landline and the apartment building. The man realizes he saw the gate buttons on his way out of the office. He runs back, reads the manual, and opens the gates. Outside, they see a strange man with a head mutated like a water balloon and sharp, claw-like fingers. Yoon-hyuk returns to the lobby just as the gates open. He yells for everyone to close the gates, but it's too late. The mutated man lets out its tongue and attacks, killing one tenant. The old man and lady who opened the gates freeze in terror. Yoon-hyuk uses the fire extinguisher to push the monster out of the building. He signals the old man to close the gate. Yoon-hyuk empties the extinguisher, and Yi-kyung tackles the monster out, but its tongue wounds her. Yoon-hyuk holds the gate open long enough for Yi-kyung to crawl back inside. The mutated man's tongue attempts to reach Yi-kyung, narrowly missing her face, before the creature gives up and slowly walks away. Yi-kyung asks Yoon-hyuk what that thing was. He can only say it was no longer human. The other tenants, who hid during the attack, come out once the danger passes. The old man asks Yi-kyung what the government is doing, but she doesn't know. The tenants assume they only faced one monster, but they look outside to see multiple monsters seeking their next victims. The suicidal man looks out his apartment window and sees buildings burning. A large flock of crows flies by as his nose begins to bleed heavily. He initially tries to stop the bleeding, but then resigns himself to it. Cha Hyun-soo, the suicidal man, is shown playing video games as his mother speaks through his room door. He has self-inflicted scars on his right arm. He refused to join his family on a trip, and they left without him, arguing about his behavior. He wouldn't go to school, and they felt helpless. As the family argued in their car, a truck driver in the opposite lane suffered a nosebleed and lost control. The truck instantly struck and killed Cha Hyun-soo's entire family. Cha Hyun-soo attends the funeral, only to complain to his parents' pictures that the 30 million won they left him wasn't enough. His relatives drag him out due to his attitude. In the present, Cha Hyun-soo is shivering in Yoon Ji-soo's apartment. The internet is flooded with trending topics about monsters, state of alert, and nosebleeds. Lee Yoon-yu is on the stairs, losing contact with a person on her phone. She falls down several flights because of her sprained ankle. The scarred man is also going down the stairs. Yoon-yu tells him to leave her alone, but he is suddenly attacked from behind by Cha Hyun-soo's neighbor, the woman who was eating her cat. She bites the scarred man's right shoulder, but he calmly throws her down the stairs. The woman attacks again, but he grabs her neck and sees the number 1510 etched on her forehead, the woman who attacked Jisoo's door. He hits her head against a fire alarm repeatedly with no effect. The woman spots Lee Yoon-yu and tries to attack her instead, but the scarred man kills the woman before she can reach Yoon-yu. Seo Yi-kyung and a man named Lee Soo-eung carry the corpse of the tenant killed earlier by the mutated man. Yi-kyung finds the man's phone and takes a picture of the body. Lee Soo-eung objects, but Yi-kyung says the man's family deserves to know the truth. Meanwhile, Yoon Ji-soo leaves her apartment to call for help. On the stairs, she passes a man staring into a corner. He drops a bottle, making a noise, and looks up at Ji-soo. His nose begins to bleed heavily, and he attacks her. She hits him with her baseball bat, knocking him out. As she checks on him, young Jae-hyun appears, telling her not to approach the man. Ji-soo turns her back, and the man mutates. Young Jae-hyun beheads the monster before it can attack Ji-soo. On the ground floor, a woman begs the tenants not to block the entrance, as she is waiting for her daughter. Lee Yoon-hyuk refuses her plea to go out and search. All the tenants receive an alert message stating that anyone with nosebleeds, blackouts, or sudden aggressive behavior must be immediately quarantined. Lee Yoon-yu decides to follow the scarred man down the stairs, who is also checking his phone. Yoon Ji-soo asks Jung Jae-hyun why he is so calm. He tells her he is extremely nervous, wiping blood off his katana. The beheaded monster gets up and walks away from the staircase, confirming Jung Jae-hyun was wrong about it being dead. The tenants on the ground floor argue about whether to leave or go back to their apartments. A group wants to go upstairs, but the others block them. They hear a noise, and the scarred man appears from the staircase. He tries to leave, but the exits are blocked. Tenants see the bite mark on his shoulder, and after confirming it, the group leader, Kim Seok-hyun, tases him unconscious. Lee Yoon-yu appears, covered in blood. Her brother covers her with his shirt, and she rushes to the bathroom to clean up. 8 hours later, Cha Hyun-soo wakes up and finds an article about the disease, but his internet connection cuts out before he finishes reading. He tries to leave, but the beheaded monster is outside his door, moving and talking, relying on hearing. Cha Hyun-soo remains quiet until the monster leaves. The other tenants tie up the scarred man and plan to kill him, fearing they will die if they keep him alive. Kim Seok-hyun reluctantly goes into the room to kill him, but fails. The scarred man evades the attack and knocks Seok-hyun out with a headbutt. Meanwhile, Yoon Ji-soo and Jung Jae-hyun find an apartment with a person inside, who gives them the passcode. It's the same person the scarred man was torturing. Young Jae-hyun knows this because of the duct tape. The apartment owner asks what happened outside, and Ji-soo tells him he needs to see for himself. The three leave to find more survivors. Seo Yi-kyung suggests everyone stay together until rescue arrives. Lee Yoon-hyuk suggests the daycare center, but the director, the same woman looking for her daughter, refuses to go with them, insisting she must leave to search. Lee Yoon-hyuk tells her she needs to live and offers her a chance to help the group, but she refuses and leaves. Yoon Ji-soo's group finds an open apartment where the owner has committed suicide. They take the body down, and Jung Jae-hyun prays. Ji-soo has a flashback of the owner of her bass guitar, who also committed suicide. Ji-soo decides to loot the apartment for food. Cha Hyun-soo remains in his apartment, still contemplating suicide. Cha Hyun-soo sees a man trying to climb down from his window, who tells his children to look out for each other while he searches for food. A monster appears behind the man unnoticed. His daughter screams, startling him. The man tries to fend off the monster but falls to his death. The monster tries to enter the children's apartment. Cha Hyun-soo throws his monitor to distract the monster, which comes to his window instead. Cha Hyun-soo pokes the monster's eye with a broken mop stick. The monster retaliates, strangling Cha Hyun-soo, who is saved by his neighbor, Han Do-sik, who severs the monster's head. Han Do-sik tells Cha Hyun-soo that the monsters don't die and asks if he wants to save the children a few floors below. Cha Hyun-soo joins Han Do-sik, who introduces himself. Do-sik, who is disabled, explains he can't leave to help but offers to upgrade Cha Hyun-soo's weapon. Kim Seok-hyun argues with his wife in the daycare, frustrating the other tenants. Cha Hyun-soo asks to borrow Do-sik's cannon, but Do-sik refuses, saying it only has a few shots left, reserved for his own suicide, if all hope is lost. Cha Hyun-soo goes downstairs and finds the other staircase locked. The mutated man from earlier appears. Cha Hyun-soo hides inside the broken elevator. Lee Yoon-hyuk loses track of him on the security cameras when the power goes out. Cha Hyun-soo attacks the monster and flees. He uses a marble to distract the monster and manages to leave it on the floor, rushing to save the children. Kim Seok-hyun goes to his store and finds his frozen food melting due to the power outage. Lee Yoon-hyuk arrives and tells Seo Yi-kyung they need to find the electrical room. Yi-kyung takes supplies despite Seok-hyun's disapproval and leaves, stating it's an emergency. A few hours earlier, Seo Yi-kyung told Lee Yoon-hyuk they needed to work together for survival. Yi-kyung makes her way to the basement, searching for the electrical room. Cha Hyun-soo finds the children. They ask him to find their father, but Cha Hyun-soo tells them no one could survive a fall from the 12th floor. He tells them they need to reach the 14th floor and promises to protect them. As Cha Hyun-soo leads the kids out, he suddenly experiences pain in his chest and arm. His nose bleeds profusely, and he tells the children to get away, closing the apartment door on them. He has a flashback of the event that spiraled his life out of control. His eyes turn pitch black, and his nose continues to bleed. Cha Hyun-soo is beginning to mutate. Cha Hyun-soo dreams about his family's car accident, realizing he was responsible. He was applying as a game beta tester during the family trip, and when his father confronted him about his life choices, Cha Hyun-soo retaliated. The argument distracted his father, leading to the collision. Cha Hyun-soo woke up in the hospital, and his uncle told him to live honorably for his dead family. After leaving, Cha Hyun-soo began seeing his own mutated reflection and witnessed people disappearing around him. Cha Hyun-soo wakes up beneath a steel door, holding off a massive monster trying to enter the building to reach the two children. He grabs the monster's leg, giving the kids time to escape upstairs. The monster then shifts its attention, kicking Cha Hyun-soo through a brick wall before he punches it to death. Yoon Ji-soo and Jung Jae-hyun arrive. Ji-soo pulls Cha Hyun-soo out of the wall, and Jung Jae-hyun knocks the monster out with his katana. They drag Cha Hyun-soo back to their apartment, but he immediately asks about the children. Ji-soo confronts Cha Hyun-soo, asking if he's infected. Jung Jae-hyun calms her down, reminding her that she wanted to save him. Cha Hyun-soo asks for their help to rescue the children, fulfilling his promise to protect them. Meanwhile, the children, Kim Soo-young and Kim Young-soo, head toward the 14th floor. The little boy is terrified, but his older sister comforts him. He wets his pants. They encounter the mutated man who can't see, but the kids remain quiet and he leaves, thinking they aren't there. The bigger monster follows the kids, finding them through the blind monster. The blind monster, hearing the commotion, thinks it has found prey and attacks the larger monster. The two fight. The larger monster beats the blind one and throws it out the window. The kids keep running upstairs as Cha Hyun-soo's group hears the fight and rushes up to help. The kids reach the 15th floor while the monsters fight on the 14th. They knock on apartments for help, but no one answers. They see a shadow, the big monster, coming upstairs. Soo-young tells her little brother to close his eyes as the monster approaches. Suddenly, the older lady with the empty stroller appears. Meanwhile, Seo Yi-kyung finds the electrical room and restores power, but a monster pulls her out as she leaves. The scarred man goes back to the apartment where he was torturing a man, finding a note left by the victim. The scarred man uses duct tape to mend his shoulder wound and contemplates his next move. The other tenants are in the daycare when the TV turns on. The president of Korea addresses the nation about the emergency, assuring everyone everything will be fine, but he suddenly mutates on air with a profuse nosebleed. He tells everyone with his dying breath that they will all die. The feed is cut after soldiers shoot the president. The tenants panic, losing hope of rescue. Meanwhile, the old lady tells the monster not to touch the kids. The monster shoves her aside. The old lady briefly sees her baby inside the stroller and remembers the accident a year ago, finally accepting her baby is dead. She tells the monster she knows the truth, and the monster crushes the stroller before punching her to death. Cha Hyun-soo's group arrives just before the old lady dies. They tell the children to run to them while the monster is distracted. The kids stand behind them. The old lady distracts the monster by jumping on its head, having mutated into a monster herself. Jisoo and Jung Jae-hyun hold the monster off while Cha Hyun-soo takes the children to Han Do-sik's apartment. Jung Jae-hyun tells Jisoo he can handle the monster alone. He lures it to an upper floor, waits by a large window, says a prayer, and jumps out of the way as the monster falls from the building. Like Cha Hyun-soo, the old lady seems to control her mutation. Jisoo sees the old lady's eyes change and realizes she is safe. She takes the old lady toward Do-sik's apartment, but the old lady says she can manage alone. Jisoo goes to look for Jung Jae-hyun. The old lady sees her reflection, wipes the blood, and enters Do-sik's apartment, waving at the children. Yoon Jisoo looks out the window where the monster fell. Jung Jae-hyun makes his way back to the 14th floor and sees Jisoo. They go downstairs and Jisoo tells him to be more careful. Yoon Jisoo takes Jung Jae-hyun back to her messy apartment. He assumes someone broke in, but she says he's the first person ever in her apartment. She starts packing a bag, including her bass guitar. A small flashback shows her crying when she received the bass from its previous owner, who committed suicide. Meanwhile, one tenant, Kong Sung-won, receives a job application message and initially dismisses it as useless, but another tenant tells him not to give up hope. Lee Yoon-hyuk searches for Lee Yoon-yu in the daycare, but she's in her room. She looks at her sprained ankle, and then her ballet dress. She rips the dress apart with a box cutter, having lost hope for her dreams as the world collapses. Cha Hyun-soo joins everyone for dinner. Han Do-sik asks the children's names, noting they are reverses of each other, a name given by their father. Cha Hyun-soo and Han Do-sik fall silent as the children try not to cry. Han Do-sik offers Jung Jae-hyun a drink, but he refuses. Jisoo takes the drink instead. Han Do-sik offers one to Cha Hyun-soo, but remembering he's a minor, offers him a proper drink when he comes of age. Cha Hyun-soo asks if that day will ever come, silencing everyone. Han Do-sik just drinks. Seo Yi-kyung is found hanging from the ceiling of the basement, wrapped in spider webs. Someone locked the gate of the electrical room. Lee Soo-ung asks Lee Eun-hyuk about Yi-kyung, as the power is back on but she hasn't returned. The basement cameras are not focused correctly. Yoon Ji-soo wakes Cha Hyun-soo for his watch shift. He tells her he's infected and asks her to kill him if he turns into a monster. Jisoo agrees, asking him to do the same for her. Near dawn, Kim Seok-hyun closes his store to the other tenants, demanding they pay for food. The tenants beg for food. The man the scarred face was torturing comes down. He tells them a burglar attacked him and shares a suitcase full of food. A tenant notices blood on the suitcase and refuses the food. Morning comes, and Kang Seung-won and Ryu Jae-hwan look outside. Jae-hwan plans to escape since the monsters are gone. Seung-won begs Jae-hwan to take him to his mother's house, but it's not on his way. The morning exercise song plays, and the daycare director sneaks into the management office to open the gate, believing her daughter is coming. Lee Yoon-hyuk speaks over the speakers, calling all survivors to the lobby to stick together. He doesn't notice the director opening the gate. The director tries to run out, but the tenants stop her. She begs Yoon-hyuk to let her out, saying her daughter is arriving. A young girl is seen running toward the building. She trips. Lee Soo-ung runs out to save her, but a monster attacks them with its tongue. Lee Soo-ung and the girl die just outside the gates, leaving the tenants stunned. The director cries as the monster sucks the blood from her daughter's body. One of the tenants attempts to check if Lee Soo-ung is still alive, but Lee Yoon-hyuk stops him. He seals the gates and sets up the barricade again. The monster's tongue pierces the barricade, nearly killing Yoon-hyuk. The daycare director blames him for her daughter's death, claiming the girl would be alive if Yoon-hyuk had let her go outside. Meanwhile, Han Do-sik believes it's too dangerous to leave his apartment. Yoon Ji-soo and Jung Jae-hyun plan to go to the ground floor to join the other survivors. They promise Do-sik they will return if the ground floor is safe, but he tells them not to make false promises. Cha Hyun-soo goes with them, leaving the children and the old lady with Do-sik. A young woman and an older man discuss the recent announcement. The man plans to help on the ground floor, but the woman doubts his usefulness because of his age. Other tenants help Yoon-hyuk strengthen the barricade. The daycare director sits staring at the gates where her daughter died. The tenants discuss Seo Yi-kyung's disappearance. Yi-kyung is struggling to escape the basement. She removes her outer clothes to avoid breaking the spider web that binds her. A mutated human has transformed into a spider monster and made the basement its lair. The monster returns to eat Yi-kyung, but she is gone. She is crawling through the air vents when the monster hears her footsteps and chases her. Yi-kyung tries to escape the vents, making noise as she breaks a fan. The monster catches her and almost strangles her. Yi-kyung manages to break a window and uses a shard of glass to cut the monster's tongue. Her phone falls outside the gate, and she can't reach it to call for help. In the men's bathroom, tenants gossip about Lee Yoon-hyuk, not realizing he's in a stall, overhearing. They call him heartless, which is somewhat true, as he sent Yi-kyung to the basement despite knowing a monster was there. Yi-kyung manages to return to the ground floor. Yoon-hyuk greets her, but she punches him in the gut, confirming she knows he knowingly sent her into danger. The military announces martial law across Korea, taking charge of the country and promising resolution. They urge anyone watching to survive and give guidelines on how to kill the mutated humans, only when they are actively transforming into monsters. Lee Yoon-yu is on the ground floor but can't open the staircase doors. Cha Hyun-soo's group descends, finding a warm dead body. Ji-soo inspects the corpse and gives Cha Hyun-soo something from it. They don't realize the monster is using the body as bait. The monster attacks Cha Hyun-soo, sending him several floors down the stairwell, where he lands headfirst on the ground floor. Lee Yoon-yu screams, thinking he is dead. Cha Hyun-soo dreams of his family as someone drags him away. Cha Hyun-soo wakes up in front of Lee Yoon-yu. He asks about Ji-soo and Jung Jae-hyun, and she says they are fine. Lee Yoon-hyuk calls a meeting to vote on whether Cha Hyun-soo should stay. As his fall revealed, he briefly mutated to save himself, confirming he is infected. The tenants are terrified. Kim Seok-hyun argues against voting, demanding they raise hands to oust Cha Hyun-soo. No one raises their hands, and Yoon-hyuk points out that ousting him is participating in murder. The vote results in a tie. An invalid vote makes Seok-hyun angry. He orders a tenant to bring Cha Hyun-soo into the daycare. Before Cha Hyun-soo arrives, Kim Seok-hyun's nose begins to bleed heavily. He claims it's just tiredness, but everyone realizes he is also infected. Cha Hyun-soo enters the daycare and demands to vote. He is willing to be ousted if Kim Seok-hyun is ousted with him. Seok-hyun faints upon hearing this. The tenants discuss their options, reluctant to kill anyone. Seok-hyun wakes up in the storage room with Cha Hyun-soo. Cha Hyun-soo explains the situation and tells him to pull himself together to survive. Tenants try to convince Seok-hyun's wife to vote to oust him, but she can't decide. Seo Yi-kyung looks for Lee Soo-ung, and the tenants tell her he died trying to rescue the daycare director's daughter. Seok-hyun's wife gives Yi-kyung a meal to cheer her up, but Yi-kyung is too nauseous to eat. Yoon Ji-soo sits with the daycare director, who is looking at her daughter's pictures. Ji-soo shares her regret over not taking more pictures of the person she loves, the bass guitar owner, and shows the director a picture of her with a man before giving her a chocolate bar. Ji-soo goes to the bathroom to wash her face. remembering time spent with the man she loved, the one who owned her bass guitar. Lee Yun-yu confronts Jisoo, saying she is only trying to cheer up the director to make herself feel better, but Jisoo ignores her. The scarred man appears on the ground floor, confronting the man he was torturing. Their fight resumes, but the man escapes toward the other tenants, confessing he is infected and asking them to lock him up to escape the scarred man. Lee Yun-yu sees the scarred man, but he ignores her. The man is about to lock himself in the storage room when Jung Jae-hyun arrives. The scarred man also appears. The man pulls down the roll-up door, trapping himself inside the storage room. Cha Hyun-soo wakes up to find the man staring at him. The man offers Cha Hyun-soo food, which he refuses. The man is fascinated by Cha Hyun-soo's mutation and asks how he can get infected to gain the same powers and become immortal. The scarred man watches the storage room. He pickpockets the man's key, which the man dropped earlier. Kim Seok-hyun's wife gives Seo Yi-kyung a pregnancy test kit, which Yi-kyung reluctantly accepts. Lee Yoon-hyuk watches Jung Jae-hyun praying. Jung Jae-hyun already knows Yoon-hyuk announced the ground floor was safe. Yoon-hyuk asks Jung Jae-hyun who made his shield. Kim Soo-young tells Han Do-sik the old lady hasn't left the bathroom for over an hour. Do-sik opens the bathroom door from the outside, preparing his homemade gun, and finds a strange, womb-like structure hanging from his bathroom ceiling. Lee Yoon-hyuk goes to the storage room, ignoring Kim Seok-hyun's attempt to talk. Yoon-hyuk seeks Cha Hyun-soo, surprising Seok-hyun, who warns Hyun-soo that they are just using him. Hyun-soo ignores the warning. Yoon-hyuk explains they need to properly barricade the building and asks Hyun-soo to fetch Han Do-sik for assistance. Yoon-hyuk tells Hyun-soo that by siding with him, they won't oust him, in exchange for Hyun-soo doing the dangerous work others cannot. Meanwhile, Han Do-sik discovers the strange womb-like structure in his bathroom. He remembers the old lady, who asked him to kill her if she mutated, and relates to her due to his own lost children. Do-sik was about to shoot the structure when he sees a baby's hand move inside. He lowers his gun, closes the door, and tells the children the old lady is gone. The scarred face man heads upstairs and runs into the daycare director on the ground floor. She offers him everything she has for his help, still wanting to retrieve her daughter's remains outside. He pushes her aside and refuses, continuing upstairs. Hyun-soo attempts to follow, but Yoon-hyuk stops him, whispering something that shocks Hyun-soo. Seok-hyun's wife brings food to him and the man in the storage room. Seok-hyun demands more, but his wife refuses, explaining they are rationing. Seok-hyun threatens to eat his wife when he mutates. The other man advises Seok-hyun to control his anger. Hyun-soo remembers Yoon-hyuk's whispered request. His main goal is Han Do-sik, and the children are secondary. If things go wrong, Hyun-soo must prioritize Do-sik and leave the children. Seo Yi-kyung confronts Yoon-hyuk about endangering people's lives. Yoon-hyuk defends his actions, arguing they desperately need Do-sik for defense, and saving the children could jeopardize that. He sent Hyun-soo out to help him control his mutation, as willpower seems to be key. Yoon-hyuk intends to turn Hyun-soo into their weapon. Yi-kyung shows Yoon-hyuk a retractable knife, insisting Hyun-soo is still human. Yoon-hyuk replies, "For now." Yi-kyung leaves the bathroom, disgusted by Yoon-hyuk's plan. Before she goes, Yoon-hyuk reveals he planned to keep Hyun-soo all along, showing her the fake votes he kept after calling for a vote. Yi-kyung argues the tenants voted for Hyun-soo out of conscience, but Yoon-hyuk counters that they voted out of self-interest and fear, knowing they might be next to be infected and ousted. Yoon Ji-soo overhears this conversation. Ji-soo plans to leave the building, telling Jung Jae-hyun that the tenants will soon become infected, making it unsafe. Jae-hyun asks where she is going, but she says only that she will find a way to survive. Jae-hyun chases her to convince her to stay. Hyun-soo, controlled by his mutated self, and the scarred man continue upstairs. Hyun-soo attempts to enter a closed section of the building, but the scarred man stops him, punching him to bring back his normal self. Distracted, the scarred man is pulled away by a monster. Hyun-soo chases after him, but they are caught in an explosion. An older man and a young woman, Park Yuri, who were helping each other kill monsters, find the scarred man clinging to life after the explosion. They carry him away. The monster was a man whose son died in a fire. A diary entry confirms his mutation reflects his deep failure to reach his son, with stretching hands. The daycare director continues to mourn. A tenant tries to console her. Yuri and the old man bring Hyun-soo and the scarred man back to their apartment. The scarred man refuses treatment and leaves. The young woman checks on Hyun-soo, who also refuses treatment. The old man points his crossbow at Hyun-soo after noticing his odd behavior and demands to see his wound. Hyun-soo reveals it is already healed. The old man calls Hyun-soo a monster and tells him to leave, but then laughs, saying it was a joke. The old man, who is not afraid to die, offers to accompany Hyun-soo to the 14th floor, firing Yuri as his nurse. He tells Hyun-soo that fearing death and wanting to die are different. Seok-hyun's wife visits him in the storage room and stares at him as he sleeps. She tells him that if she mutates, she will kill him. But not as a monster, as that wouldn't satisfy her. Seok-hyun dismisses it as nonsense. He doesn't see the knife she holds behind her back. She's unable to kill him due to the other man in the room. She leaves, telling the man the scarred man has gone upstairs, heading back to his apartment. The man realizes his keys were stolen. The scarred man reaches the apartment and searches frantically but finds nothing. He then tries the key on the adjacent apartment, which opens. He enters a dark room filled with pictures of naked girls, revealing the man he tortured was a pedophile. Hyun-soo, Yuri, and the old man arrive at Do-sik's apartment. Hyun-soo immediately asks about the old lady. In the management office, Yoon-hyuk keeps a list of survivors, infected, and dead, and fails to reach anyone on the radio. Hyun-soo and his group are about to discover the old lady's fate as they open the bathroom door. Jisoo and Jaehyun hang an SOS banner outside the building. The pedophile cuts himself to get the attention of the tenants, who let him out for treatment. Jaehyun sees him leave the storage room and suspects something is wrong. The scarred man returns to the ground floor to confront the pedophile. Jaehyun tries to intervene but is too late. The scarred man hits the pedophile, throwing him against a wall as the other tenants watch. The scarred man remembers Hwang Sung-jae, who was sentenced for something that affected him. He hits the pedophile 3 times, killing him, saying he didn't deserve a humane death. The scarred man drags the body out. He drags the bodies of Lee Soo-ung and the daycare director's daughter back inside before closing the gates. But Young Jae-hyun stops him. The scarred man collapses, exhausted. The daycare director hugs her dead daughter. The children, Soo-young and Young-soo, talk about their father. The daycare director cleans the children, and they cry together. The tenants join the daycare director to bury her daughter, Park Min-ju, and Lee Soo-ung. The children make paper flowers for the graves. The old man salutes Soo-ung for his sacrifice. Yi-kyung tries to console the daycare director, who vows to remain strong for her family. She doesn't know Yi-kyung is pregnant. Seok-hyun becomes further infected while his wife congratulates Yi-kyung on her pregnancy. Yoon-hyuk contacts Hyun-soo and sends him on another mission to scale the building using the fire exit stairs. Outside, a huge monster grabs the long-tongued monster as it is feeding on the pedophile's body. 20 years ago, in September 2000, Pyun Sang-wook, the scarred face man, confronted Hwang Sung-jae while walking home, demanding to know why he burned down Sang-wook's house. Sung-jae, recognizing the burns on the teenager's face, confessed it was a prank. He claimed he had already been punished with a few months in prison and probation. Sang-wook, unable to accept the light penalty for his father's death, stabbed Sung-jae in the neck, killing him instantly. 20 years later, in July 2020, Sang-wook received a request from a man searching for his missing daughter. The man, knowing Sang-wook was a killer for hire, begged him to find the person responsible. Sang-wook initially refused but eventually accepted the low fee. This request led Sang-wook to the Green Home Apartments, where he found and killed the pedophile. Sang-wook wakes up in the present and begins strangling Park Yuri, telling her not to touch him. Yuri gives him bandages and leaves. The old man tries to take a parked motorcycle, but Yuri stops him. The tenants debate Sang-wook, with some grateful he killed the pedophile and others worried he might turn on them. The daycare director thanks Sang-wook for retrieving her daughter's body and offers him her jewelry, but he is already gone. Sang-wook goes to Minju's burial spot, digs a small hole, and buries the pedophile's apartment keys. Jung Jae-hyun sees him and asks why he is burning money. Sang-wook says he was paid for a job he failed. Jae-hyun returns Sang-wook's phone and apologizes for invading his privacy by seeing his text messages. Sang-wook asks Jae-hyun to pray for the pedophile's victims, saying God favors Jae-hyun more. The tenants practice defense strategies against monsters. Lee Yoon-yu sarcastically applauds their efforts and leaves. Meanwhile, Seo Yi-kyung breaks into a sealed area of the building. Lee Yoon-hyuk disapproves and tells her to leave. Kim Seok-hyun's wife opposes Yi-kyung leaving due to her pregnancy, but Yi-kyung insists she must act. Yi-kyung takes the old man's motorcycle and leaves. Yoon-hyuk tells the old man that Yi-kyung left to repay his debt, confusing the old man, who only cares about his stolen motorcycle. Jae-hyun brings Sang-wook to Seok-hyun's store. Jae-hyun pours a shot of soju but only tastes it, revealing he is a recovering alcoholic desperately resisting relapse. He tells Sang-wook to take charge of the store, explaining that people handle problems differently, and the store allows Sang-wook to be alone while fighting his own demons. Kim Young-soo goes outside the daycare to read the green home house rules and notices his name is missing from the buddy system. The old man offers to be Young-soo's buddy. The rules state groups must move in pairs, food must be rationed, temperatures checked before bed, and the infected must be quarantined. Cha Hyun-soo returns from his errand and gives a bag of batteries to Eun-hyuk. He asks for his room to be locked, gives the keys to Do-sik, and is locked inside, as the tenants can't risk him turning into a monster overnight. Do-sik questions if this is right, but Eun-hyuk says they have no choice. The tenants give Hyun-soo a list of items they need from their rooms. Hyun-soo goes upstairs using a string system to move between rooms. He plans to escape when he hears a bell ring in the corridor. He peeks out and is immediately attacked by a very speedy monster. The tenants, making Molotov cocktails in the store, think about drinking the liquor to prevent it from going to waste. A tenant sneaks a sip, unaware Sang-wook is watching. Soon, they hear a monster whistling. They rush out and confront a monster covered in hair. It's Kim Seok-hyun. His wife, Seon-young, steps forward, volunteering to handle him. She asks if he has any last words, hoping he will apologize, but he only tells her to kill him. Seon-young repeatedly hits him with a lead pipe until he stops moving. Hyun-soo returns just in time to witness Seok-hyun's execution. He sees his own mutated reflection in the blood on the floor, and his mutated self warns him he will suffer the same fate. Hyun-soo ignores the vision and returns to his cage. Seon-young isolates herself, smoking as she mourns. Yi-kyung arrives at Dongbu Penitentiary Clinic and asks for her husband's body, who died in a fire in July 2020. Officials refuse to help, so Yi-kyung resigns as a firefighter. She rides the motorcycle to her husband's office, finds his tablet, and reads his blog entries about the disease before the army arrives. They bag her head and take her away. The tenants worry when the power goes out. Yoon-yu tells everyone to stop complaining. Jisoo talks to Yoon-hyuk, who explains that losing power is secondary to having food and water. Jisoo asks if he believes they will survive. Hyun-soo wakes up with Yoon-yu reading nearby. She asks about his scar. He says he wounded himself. Yoon-yu tells him he needs to stop blaming himself so others can understand his pain. She gives him a box of band-aids before leaving. She bumps into Yoon-hyuk and Jisoo, and they argue about Hyun-soo. Yoon-yu tells Yoon-hyuk not to interfere because he is not her real brother. Yoon-hyuk slaps her to end the argument. Yoon-hyuk tells Hyun-soo he must leave. He is running out of time and losing control of his mutation. Yoon-hyuk can't risk him turning into a monster around them. Hyun-soo goes to the basement parking lot to find an exit, but is caught by the spider monster. Meanwhile, the army questions Yi-kyung about the monsters. She demands to know what happened to her husband, but the army says he is dead. Based on his blog, he tried but failed to cure himself. Yi-kyung realizes she must save herself and tells the army about Hyun-soo. Yoon-hyuk, Ji-soo, Jae-hyun, and Sang-wook go to the basement to rescue Hyun-soo. They spot another monster but avoid it to focus on their mission. The spider monster uses Hyun-soo as bait to separate the humans and chases Soo-young using the air vents. Do-sik arrives to save Soo-young. Yoon-hyuk's group saves Hyun-soo but must now face the speedy monster. Do-sik loses control of his wheelchair and falls. Soo-young tries to help, but the spider catches up, grabbing Soo-young's jumper and pulling her away from Do-sik. Yoon-hyuk hits the monster's right eye, allowing them to hide under a car. The monster finds them, so Yoon-hyuk uses his car keys to trigger multiple car alarms. The monster attacks the cars, distracted by the noise. They run out of options when the monster focuses on them again. The monster attacks, but Yoon-hyuk finds a minivan and rams the monster with it. The loud noise, however, wakes up all the other monsters in the basement. Yoon-hyuk drives frantically but fails to lose them. Just as all hope seems lost, the old man arrives. The old man uses his flamethrower to burn the monsters. Meanwhile, Han Do-sik continues to fight the spider monster to save Kim Soo-young. The other tenants are reluctant to help, but Lee Yoon-yu goes out, followed by one other tenant to save Soo-young and Do-sik. One of the spider monster's legs is tangled in a rope they set up. Yoon-yu and the tenant pull the rope, and the rest of the tenants eventually join in. Do-sik tells Soo-young to run away. The monster stabs Do-sik's leg, but he doesn't feel it and crawls away as the tenants pull the monster back. Soo-young throws a Molotov cocktail at the monster, which breaks free and attacks Do-sik. Hyun-soo's group arrives just in time to save Do-sik and kill the monster. They worry Hyun-soo has died, but he stands up, wounded. They watch as his eyes return to normal, and he crawls back to his cage. Everyone apologizes for treating him like this, and Yoon-hyuk tells Hyun-soo he can choose where to sleep that night. Park Yuri treats the wounded. Yoon-yu notices Yuri struggling to breathe, but Yuri assures her she is fine. Yuri finds Pyeon Sang-wook, the scarred man, smoking outside the daycare and brings him the first aid kit. She tells him to show respect and manners around the other survivors, saying the others choose to fight, unlike him. Sang-wook, admiring her spirit, asks for her help with his wounds and reveals his extensive burn scars. Hyun-soo goes to the store for food. The other tenants stare until he leaves. Hyun-soo joins Sang-wook, but the old man pushes them aside to take the best eating spot. The old man tells them to sit, as there are no other places. After eating, the old man notices the scar on Hyun-soo's arm, and along with Sang-wook's burns, shows them his own scars, telling them his doctor gave him 6 months to live, a deadline he surpassed. He tells them to eat, and both Sang-wook and Hyun-soo eat ravenously. After dinner, Yoon-yu changes the bandages on her ankle, and Yoon-hyuk helps her. Yoon-yu notices his glasses are crooked and uses the bandages to straighten them. Kim Young-soo and Soo-young argue outside. She doesn't want to play, fearing the adults. Do-sik tells Soo-young to play with her brother. She asks Do-sik for a weapon, worried she'll die before she's old enough to protect Young-soo. A tenant breaks the water conservation rule to shower, concerned about his skin. The water suddenly turns black and contaminated. Yoon-hyuk tells Do-sik the water is contaminated. Do-sik offers to fix Yoon-hyuk's glasses, but Yoon-hyuk refuses, saying he likes them crooked. Yoon-hyuk invites Do-sik to the basement for a discussion. On their way, they encounter tenants fetching packages. Yoon-hyuk warns them not to wander alone. In the basement, they look at an SUV. Do-sik inspects it and says it's in good shape. Yoon-hyuk asks Do-sik to reinforce the SUV for their eventual escape. A tenant overhears and panics, thinking they will be abandoned. The other tenants return to the daycare to distribute packages. An old woman keeps packages for herself, claiming the owners are missing, causing suspicion. A man checks a package, seeing it belongs to Yi-kyung, who has already left. A tenant goes to the management office and finds Yoon-hyuk's escape plan. Panicked, he demands his share of food and the car keys, planning to leave alone. Sang-wook punches him and pushes him toward the exit, daring him to leave. The old man tells the man to control himself, stating the weak die first. Yoon Hyuk calls a meeting to explain his plan, hoping to calm everyone. He reveals they only have 5 days of food left, so they must find supplies. He says only those with the highest chance of success will participate. Yoon Hyuk chooses Sang-wook, who reminds Yoon Hyuk he is a killer. Yoon Hyuk counters that Sang-wook has never saved anyone, and this is his chance. The man who panicked earlier apologizes to Sang-wook at the store. Sang-wook apologizes for punching him. Jae-hyun applauds Sang-wook's improved manners. Hyun-soo hears Jisoo playing the guitar. He tells her it's been a long time since he heard music. She says she was just improvising. Hyun-soo asks her to finish the song, commenting that it makes him feel at home. Jisoo thanks him for inadvertently giving her song a title. Yoon-yu is in the bathroom stall when Jisoo desperately knocks, needing to use the restroom. Yoon-yu checks on the silent Jisoo and finds her lying on the floor. Thinking Jisoo is turning into a monster, Yoon-yu calls for help. Yoon Hyuk examines Jisoo, suspecting appendicitis. Tenants wonder how he knows. Yoon-yu reveals he went to medical school. Yoon Hyuk discusses options with Jae-hyun. They know Jisoo needs surgery, but no one can perform it. Yoon-yu insists they must help Jisoo. Yoon Hyuk explains the risks of surgery to Jisoo, warning she might die. Jisoo agrees, preferring a chance to live over simply accepting death. The tenants sterilize the office and tools for the surgery. Yoon Hyuk tells Hyun-soo that saving Jisoo is their priority. If surgery fails, they must take her to the nearest hospital before looking for food. Jae-hyun visits Jisoo before the surgery. Hyun-soo prepares to leave with Sang-wook and Yuri. Hyun-soo remembers the start of his life spiraling downward, trying to be friendly with a new student by offering him coins, only for the new student to become his bully. His friends turned against him, and he was beaten daily. His parents convinced him to apologize because his father worked for the bully's father. Hyun-soo hated his parents and his sister, who denied knowing him. The bullying stopped, but Hyun-soo lost his friends. He saw the bully forcing a friend to commit suicide for money needed for his mother's surgery. Hyun-soo intervened, pushing the bully into the street. Hyun-soo's father was fired. The friend blamed Hyun-soo for his mother's death, as he never got the money. Hyun-soo lost the will to live and tried to kill himself with a box cutter. Now, risking his life to save others, he rethinks his past. Sang-wook drives the SUV out of the building to search for supplies. As they exit, a sudden force sends the SUV flying like a toy car. The vehicle is severely damaged with no signs of survivors inside. Lee Yoon-hyuk is preparing for surgery when a loud crash is heard outside. He fears their plan has failed. Cha Hyun-soo gets out of the SUV wreckage but is unable to fight the large monster, the same one Yoon Jae-hyun outsmarted before. Yoon Hyuk tells Jisoo he can't use anesthesia due to the risk of shock, but Jisoo agrees to the surgery, determined to survive. Yoon Hyuk gives Jisoo something to bite on and makes the first incision with a box cutter. The old man goes outside to support Hyun-soo, throwing Molotov cocktails to distract the monster. He helps Hyun-soo, but they are trapped as the monster approaches. The old man pushes Hyun-soo away, telling him to live. The monster misses the old man with its swing. A fire truck suddenly appears and rams the monster. It's Seo Yi-kyung. The daycare director gives lead pipes to the other tenants, telling them to fight to protect the building. Yi-kyung avoids the crushing truck as the monster pulls it off. Pyun Sang-wook, the scarred man, frantically saves Park Yuri from the leaking gas of the wrecked SUV just before it explodes. The monster is momentarily distracted searching for Yi-kyung. She gets back into the fire truck and reverses. The monster chases her but is hit by the SUV explosion. As the monster tries to extinguish the flames, Yi-kyung rams it again. The monster stops the truck with sheer force but is weakened. Yi-kyung pushes the accelerator, driving the monster down a cliff. The monster is impaled on a steel beam at the bottom. Yi-kyung shoves burning debris down to pin it. Meanwhile, Yoon Hyuk finishes Jisoo's surgery, telling Jae-hyun the outcome is up to God. Jae-hyun says it depends on Jisoo's will to live. After the fight, Yi-kyung talks to the old man about his motorcycle. Yoon-hyuk asks Yi-kyung what she saw outside. Yi-kyung demands to know about Hyun-soo first. Yuri wakes up in the management office. The old man brings her an inhaler Yi-kyung found outside. He scolds Sang-wook for smoking near Yuri, who has asthma. Sang-wook returns to the store and finds Jae-hyun drinking heavily, falling back into his old ways. Sang-wook stops him. Jae-hyun asks what Sang-wook chose for his first birthday, referring to the Korean tradition of choosing a pencil, money, or thread for long life. Jisoo reveals she chose thread. Sang-wook can't remember his choice. Jae-hyun gives Sang-wook a shot of soju, saying God doesn't give impossible problems. Sang-wook drinks the shot. Yi-kyung checks Hyun-soo's mutation, slicing his hand when he wakes. The wound instantly heals. She asks when he first noticed symptoms. Yi-kyung tells Hyun-soo about soldiers and a government experiment on people who resist mutation. Hyun-soo wants to know if the experiment was successful. Yi-kyung admits she met soldiers and told them about him in exchange for information about Nam Sang-won. Thanks to Yi-kyung's water supply, everyone bathes that night and enjoys a refreshed dinner. Seon-young announces she needs to go outside because she is developing mutation symptoms. The tenants vote to let her stay in the arcade instead. Yi-kyung sees Seon-young before she enters the arcade. Seon-young tells Yi-kyung to keep her body warm and apologizes to Hyun-soo for being a bad adult. The daycare director brings out aged Korean wine. Yoon-yu suggests they drink it quickly, but Yoon-hyuk appears and allows them, provided they don't forget their duties. Yi-kyung, taking a bath, remembers her deal with the army. She needs to use the tracking device to locate them, intending to trade Hyun-soo for information about her husband, Nam Sang-won. A masked man with a gun enters the bathroom, but Yi-kyung wins the fight. The old man is telling war stories when a shaken runaway soldier runs into the daycare, gobbling up berries. Yi-kyung says he's a deserter. Yoon-yu visits Hyun-soo. She makes him do a pinky swear, and he is delighted, although he doesn't know what he promised. Yoon-hyuk interrupts, revealing Yoon-yu has a crush on Hyun-soo, embarrassing her. Hyun-soo goes to the bathroom, looks in the mirror, and cuts his hair, remembering the last time he looked at himself. Jisoo wakes up and thanks Jae-hyun. He thanks her for waking up. Yoon-yu contemplates the absurdity that Hyun-soo might be her first love, lighting a cigarette. Yi-kyung interrogates the soldier, who is too shaken to explain his presence. He throws away his walkie-talkie, which is still transmitting. Yoon-hyuk holds the soldier down while Yi-kyung breaks the walkie-talkie with an oxygen tank. Yoon-hyuk visits Jisoo, who requests to see Yoon-yu. Yi-kyung visits Seon-young, telling her to focus on good things for her baby and that she needs to survive for 15 days to pass the worst of the mutation. After saying this, Yi-kyung's nose bleeds heavily. Hyun-soo and Sang-wook are on the 12th floor when they see the security guard, who has mutated, entering the elevator. They try to stop it, but it descends. They rush down the stairs. Sang-wook is caught by a monster and tells Hyun-soo to save the others. Yi-kyung holds Seon-young's hand as she overcomes her nosebleed. They hear the alarm, and Yi-kyung tries to leave, but Seon-young tells her not to go. The daycare director is at the elevator when it opens. Hyun-soo jumps down the stairwell, breaking his leg as he lands on the ground floor. The daycare director recognizes the security guard from the rotten fish incident. The guard attacks her, but Jae-hyun blocks the strike. Jae-hyun struggles with the guard as Hyun-soo crawls out. The guard cuts off Jae-hyun's left arm with his lawnmower. Jae-hyun stabs the guard with his broken katana, knowing it's not enough, and pulls the guard into the elevator. The lawnmower keeps the elevator door from fully closing, allowing the tenants to see Jae-hyun fighting the guard. Jae-hyun tells the tenants to throw a Molotov cocktail inside. They hesitate because it means killing him too, but Yoon-hyuk realizes there's no choice. Yoon-hyuk takes the Molotov and throws it into the elevator. Everyone cries as Jae-hyun sacrifices his life for them. The tenants hold a funeral for Yoon Jae-hyun. The old man honors his memory as Jisoo struggles to attend, weeping as she remembers Jae-hyun's confession of feelings for her. Lee Yoon-yu gives Jisoo a box of chocolates. Jisoo asks Yoon-yu to leave, thinking people die because of her bad luck. Yun-yu argues her life is worse. She is an orphan whose parents died after a ballet show, and she ruined her brother Yoon-hyuk's life by making him quit school for her ballet dreams, which she abandoned due to ankle injuries. Yun-yu vows to survive with Jisoo to prove she isn't unlucky. She gives Jisoo Jae-hyun's broken katana and tells her to stop being miserable. Pyeon Sang-wook, the scarred man, visits Jae-hyun's grave, pours out the remaining soju, and fights back tears, telling Jae-hyun he can drink as much as he wants now. Meanwhile, an army caravan is attacked by a monster. Most soldiers die. The commander tells her men to burn the deceased. A soldier escapes in a vehicle and drives toward the Green Home apartments. The old man tells Seo Yi-kyung they need to find a bunker under the building. The army vehicle crashes through the front gates. A group of gangsters emerge, not soldiers. They are searching for the runaway soldier, cutting off his thumb to open a briefcase, which fails. They kill the soldier and look for survivors. The old man tells Seong-yu to hide in the air vent. The gangsters capture the old man. Sang-wook stays silent and hidden, refusing to interfere. The gangsters pass the air vent and hear Seong-yu's cries, going to check. Yi-kyung sneaks into the army vehicle to steal the briefcase. She can't find the soldier's body, assuming a monster took him. Kim Soo-young looks for her brother, but the old man tells her he is safe. The gangsters draw a red circle and force all the captured tenants inside. They instantly kill a tenant who steps outside, warning everyone they will die if they leave the circle. Yi-kyung is hiding and nearly caught, but the gangsters are not very observant. A gangster finds Jisoo sleeping in the laundry room, plays with her wound, and licks her blood. He is called away by his boss, Shin Jung-seop. Jung-seop tries to build trust, but the old man refuses, citing the murder. Yoon-hyuk asks Jung-seop about his previous location. Jung-seop says they found a fortified church where everyone had killed each other, not monsters. Jung-seop warns them that humans are the scariest monsters. Yoon-hyuk tells Hyun-soo they must wait for a chance, as the gangsters only have a few weapons and haven't found Sang-wook or Yi-kyung. Yi-kyung and Sang-wook start taking down the gangsters. Yi-kyung hides a weapon, but Sang-wook takes it to intimidate two gangsters. They question if he knows how to use the rifle since the safety is on, but he quickly disproves their doubts. Yi-kyung knocks out a gangster just before he can fire. Jung-seop finds Yoon-hyuk's plans in the office and demands to know the leader. Yoon-hyuk stands up, confessing he is the leader. Jung-seop offers to ally with Yoon-hyuk, threatening to kill him if he refuses. Yoon-hyuk agrees. A gangster reports a monster sighting. It's Seon-yong. Yoon-hyuk tries to save her, but Jung-seop shoots her anyway. Seon-yong fights back, but they hold her down and shoot her. The tenants panic, thinking Jung-seop killed Yoon-hyuk. Seon-yong then attacks Yoon-hyuk, thinking he betrayed everyone. Hyun-soo blocks her attack and strangles her until she passes out. Jung-seop checks Hyun-soo's wound, seeing it has healed. A gangster burns Seon-yong's body. Jung-seop and his men take Hyun-soo on the elevator. The remaining gangsters send Yuri to check on Jisoo. A gangster tries to rape Yuri, but Jisoo saves her. The gangster repeatedly punches Jisoo's wound, making her pass out. Yuri kills the gangster with Jae-hyun's broken katana. Shaken by killing a man, Yuri gasps. Jisoo calls for help, but Yuri doesn't respond until she takes a puff from her inhaler to calm down. Jung-seop takes Hyun-soo to the rooftop, planning to throw him off. A man suggests burning Hyun-soo, but Jung-seop refuses, wanting to enjoy torturing him slowly. Hyun-soo gets up and closes the rooftop door, telling Jung-seop none of them will survive to go downstairs. Jung-seop laughs, promising to kill Hyun-soo slowly until he dies for good. Suddenly, a man named Jung Wi-myung attacks Jung-seop, throwing him off the building to his death. Hyun-soo asks why Wi-myung killed him. Wi-myung says he wasn't their ally and got tired of Jung-seop. Hyun-soo tells Wi-myung that some monsters don't kill humans. He shows him Do-sik's apartment, where the womb-like structure is still throbbing, developing the baby monster. Meanwhile, Yi-kyung goes on the attack pointing a gun at the gangsters. She managed to kill two of the gangsters, freeing the tenants. Hyun-soo asks Wee Myung if there are any humans who wouldn't kill monsters. Meanwhile, a gangster shows a flyer distributed by the Korean army offering refuge for information about special infectees like Hyun-soo and Wee Myung. The tenants see the elevator moving down and prepare for the worst. Inside, Hyun-soo looks at his reflection, doubting whether the tenants will turn him over. The elevator nears the ground floor. Sang-wook joins the tenants, bringing Kim Young-soo with him. They aim their guns at the elevator doors, waiting for them to open. The tenants confront Hyun-soo and Wee Myung. They distrust Wee Myung, but Hyun-soo vouches for him and tells everyone to lower their weapons. Wee Myung says he is leaving to find more of their kind and wants Hyun-soo to join him. Wee Myung initially thought the mutation was a disease and volunteered for experiments, but since it wasn't cured, he accepted that nature had chosen him to be superior to humans. Yoo-seong sees his monster friend, but the other tenants plan to kill it. Despite Yoo-seong's pleas and Hyun-soo's assurance that the monster is harmless, they use Han Do-sik's flamethrower to burn it to death. Yoo-seong cries. Wee Myung tries to calm him, but Yoon-yu pulls them away, telling Hyun-soo to choose his friends carefully. Yoon-hyuk speaks with Yoon-yu about the special infectee flyers. Yoon-yu insists they won't hand Hyun-soo over, but Yoon-hyuk says he needs to discuss his plan with Hyun-soo. Hyun-soo refuses to speak with Yoon-hyuk, saying he is no longer his dog. Yoon-hyuk asks Wee Myung if he plans to stay. Wee Myung says no, but as thanks for the tenants' kindness, he reveals Operation Golden Hour. He warns that this is the army's final attempt to control the infection. If they can't determine the scope of the infection, they will activate Golden Hour, which means they will stop rescuing people and simply kill everyone they see. Seo Yi-kyung is skeptical, but Wee Myung insists they must survive on their own. The tenants draw a red circle on one of the gangster's feet, telling him he will die if he leaves it. The gangster asks Wee Myung to vouch for him, but Wee Myung ignores him. Yi-kyung shows Yoon-hyuk the tracking device the army gave her, admitting she trusts him more than the government. Yoon-hyuk hides the device, unaware a tenant is listening. Do-sik returns to his apartment, experiencing infection symptoms and fearing he will hurt the children. The old man is at the makeshift cemetery and notices something strange. A tenant steals the tracking device from Yoon-hyuk's hiding spot and activates it, believing the army will save him. Park Yoo-ri finds the old man digging and scolds him for overworking himself, before suddenly passing out. Sang-wook sees her inhaler and rushes to help. Sang-wook tries to carry Yoo-ri out, but Wee Myung stops him, telling Hyun-soo that Sang-wook is trying to leave and alert the soldiers. Hyun-soo says it doesn't matter, as he plans to leave with Wee Myung. Hyun-soo helps Sang-wook carry Yoo-ri to a hospital. Wee Myung fires at them, pushing Hyun-soo aside, and then opens fire on the other tenants. Yi-kyung fires back at Wee Myung, but the bullets have no effect. A tenant named Byung-il is killed by Wee Myung. Hyun-soo fights Wee Myung, discovers he can swap bodies. Wee Myung denies killing Seon-young, claiming it was Hyun-soo. Hyun-soo mutates and kills Wee Myung. The tenants try to kill Hyun-soo, but Yoon-yu stops them. Do-sik appears, hugs Hyun-soo, and stops him from fully transforming. Hyun-soo returns to normal, crying in front of Do-sik's lifeless body. But he has no memory of what happened or who Do-sik was. Jisoo asks Yoon-hyuk about Hyun-soo, and Yoon-hyuk confirms Hyun-soo has amnesia, which Jisoo hopes erases his bad memories. Yoon-yu, outside Hyun-soo's room, remembers her promise to him, that he would survive and start a new life free of pain. Young-soo hides from Soo-young, arguing about her killing the monster, which he thought was their father's spirit. Soo-young insists their father is dead. The old man finds them and gives them homemade medals from Do-sik's locker, telling them to look out for each other. The next day, Soo-young tells Yi-kyung the old man won't wake up. Yi-kyung confirms he is dead. They carry his body and Byung-il's body to the gravesite. Yi-kyung digs a new grave and finds the bunker the old man was digging. Yoon Hyuk tells everyone the old man is finally at peace. Wee Myung escapes, using his ability to transform into any human by turning into slime. That night, the army arrives, demanding the surrender of the infected for transfer to a safety camp. Yoon Hyuk checks his storage and finds the tracker is gone. Yi Kyung realizes someone activated it. A gangster inside the bunker accidentally sets off a grenade while turning on the electricity. The explosion leads the army to believe the tenants are armed, and they open fire. Yoon Hyuk leads the tenants into the bunker. In the tunnel, Yoon Yu notices Hyun Soo is missing. Yoon Hyuk volunteers to go back for him. Yoon Yu protests, but Yoon Hyuk assures her he'll return. Yoon Hyuk finds Hyun Soo and tries to give back Yong Soo's scarf, but Hyun Soo, resolute, takes the scarf and walks out to face the army. The tenants reach the bunker exit. Yoon Yu is the last to enter, waiting for Yoon Hyuk and Hyun Soo. Yi Kyung says no one is coming. Yoon Yu remembers Yoon Hyuk's earlier statement that absolute promises are usually lies. She tries to run back, but the others pull her into the bunker and Yi Kyung seals the gate. Yoon Hyuk sits in the management office, listening to Yoon Yu's Walkman as debris falls around him. The army fires at Hyun Soo, but the bullets don't affect him. They stop firing. Hyun Soo cherishes his memories with the Green Home tenants as he continues to walk toward the army. The next day, the tenants follow a dog through the bunker to the exit. The army waits for them. A tenant confesses he pressed the tracker. The commander tells Yi Kyung their deal is still active. She must go alone on her mission. The army takes the other tenants to a safety camp. They protest leaving Yi Kyung, but she urges them to survive. Yi Kyung gears up and drives away. The army takes Hyun Soo to a secret location. The driver of the army vehicle is Sang Wook, who no longer has burn scars,